Last night at 6:35, we received the biggest threat we've ever received from our closest friends and ally, from President-elect Trump, that they're threatening to put a 25% tariff on all goods coming across the border into the U.S.
Ford Motor Company is facing significant challenges as it navigates a complex landscape of shifting markets, rising tariffs, and unpredictable political climate. The company is phasing out most of its new car models in North America to cut costs and compete with the best of the ICE or BEV world by working on battery electrics. Ford has played a role in transforming the automobile industry by bringing the first moving assembly line in 1913, which ended the complexities of mass production and made it possible for the common man to afford cars. Ford's history is rooted in American engineering design and has produced reliable and well-built vehicles such as the Ford Mustang F-150 and Ford Model T. However, as President Donald Trump takes office, Ford must make hard choices to stay ahead in the technology and electric vehicle market gaps.
What I found unfair about the comments is to compare us to Mexico. And I can tell you, Canada is no Mexico. I found his comments unfair. I found them insulting. It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart.
The automotive sector is undergoing seismic shifts, with a larger agenda of every member of the family going electric. Ford invested heavily in technology, such as the Mustang Mach and plans for the rivaling electric-powered F-150. Competition remains high from electric vehicles like Tesla, and global chip shortages and increasing raw materials costs have made it impossible for classic vehicle makers like Ford to advance. The COVID-19 pandemic has also affected Ford's operations, leading to factory closures, postponements of production, and disruptions to the distribution chain. The investment in electric vehicle development is enormous for Ford, and it is unclear if the market will fully welcome electric vehicles, EVs, or if the internal combustion engine will remain a dominant force in the industry. Ford faces increasing competition from rivals like General Motors, Toyota, and Volkswagen, as well as shifting customer preferences. Donald Trump's presidency has impacted Ford, particularly his 2016 investigation into steel and aluminum imports, which raised production costs for automakers. This policy affected companies like Ford and John Deere, driving up expenses for raw materials and squeezing profits across the manufacturing sector.
We see flow from Mexico coming up through California, in through BC, into Alberta, into Ontario, and what we need to do is take that threat seriously.
With Trump back in office in 2024, Ford continues to navigate these challenges while preserving its legacy. They have announced plans to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico, while John Deere faces similar challenges with higher production costs affecting pricing and global competitiveness. Trump's America First policies disrupted both companies' global operations, with Ford manufacturing extensively in the U.S. and much production occurring in Mexico and Canada. Ford's global strategy faced risk from volatile trade relationships with China, with tariffs on agricultural products and wars with China hurting both companies.
Flowing through these chargers all day, every day, the cables are liquid cooled.
Trump's rollback of environmental regulations further complicated their futures. Ford, investing in clean energy, had to balance looser U.S. fuel standards with stricter European rules, while John Deere faced shifting emission standards for its equipment by 2024. Trump's renewed focus on tariffs and trade restrictions has increased pressure, leading to rising material costs and trade uncertainty. Ford struggles with higher production costs and reduced market competitiveness, while John Deere adapts to sustain global operations amid political shifts. The broader industry's future hangs in the balance as global trade and technology evolve. Ford's ability to adapt to market demands in regions like Mexico and Europe was limited by tariffs or trade barriers, which made it vulnerable to the ever-changing political landscape. Trump's trade war and aggressive stance on immigration and foreign policies forced Ford to rethink its operations in a world divided by protectionism. Mexico, Ford's largest trading partner, is a major player in the global supply chain, and even small tariffs can be significant. Another challenge faced by Ford under the Trump administration was the tension between government policies and the growing global demand for environmental responsibility. The auto industry is under increasing pressure to transition toward cleaner, more sustainable vehicles, such as electric vehicles, EVs, and hybrids. However, Trump's rollback of environmental regulations complicated this for companies like Ford. Trump's administration's move to weaken Obama-era fuel efficiency standards allowed Ford more flexibility when designing new vehicles. However, it also raised concerns about the global market moving towards cleaner and greener cars. Ford's decision to pursue greener options, such as electric cars and hybrids, was partly in response to the global demand for sustainability. However, the uncertainty created by Trump's environmental policies made it difficult for Ford to fully align with long-term sustainability goals. Future Ford's strategy had to navigate these contradictions and balance the interests of American consumers with the growing expectations of global markets, particularly in Europe and Asia. The company's identity has always been connected to the American blue-collar worker, but under Trump, this relationship became increasingly complicated. Policies like tariffs, trade wars, and cuts to environmental regulations didn't always help the working class in the way they were intended. Ford faced a delicate balance between meeting Trump's demands for American-made vehicles and the realities of a changing global market. The company had to consider whether it could continue manufacturing cars at the same rate in the U.S. without facing significantly higher costs. In many cases, it was more economically viable for Ford to continue manufacturing some vehicles in Mexico, where labor costs were lower. This created tension with Trump's rhetoric, which often painted automakers as betraying American workers by outsourcing jobs simultaneously. Ford made efforts to align with Trump's push for job creation, announced plans to invest in American manufacturing, including a $1.6 billion investment in a Michigan plant that would create thousands of jobs. However, Ford also had to contend with shifting consumer preferences and changing market demands, meaning some of these investments were at odds with longer-term trends. The rise of electric vehicles, autonomous driving technology, and more efficient manufacturing processes didn't always fit neatly into Trump's vision for the American worker, particularly in industries relying on traditional factory work. Ford's decision to shift production towards electric vehicles might have led to job displacement for blue-collar workers who were traditionally employed to build internal combustion engine ICE vehicles. The transition presents a challenge for the workforce as retraining and adapting to new technologies becomes necessary. Ford's path forward will require a delicate balancing act between staying true to its roots and adapting to a new, uncertain future. Ford's financial health was strained by declining sales in certain segments, but the company remained strong in the pickup and SUV markets. Ford had to make difficult decisions regarding layoffs and plant closures, which relied on its ability to pivot quickly and make tough decisions like shifting production. To maintain a healthy cash flow despite the turbulent financial environment, Ford's efforts to streamline operations, cut unprofitable models, and focus on more profitable segments helped maintain a healthy cash flow. Ford's response to governmental pressures during Trump's presidency was a delicate balancing act, as the company had to navigate the demands of the U.S. government with its protectionist policies and regulatory changes, while considering its global operations and the evolving automotive industry. One significant response was to adapt its production strategies in light of tariffs faced with higher import costs on steel and aluminum. Ford doubled down on its most profitable segments, such as pickups and SUVs, which saw strong demand despite higher prices. The company also worked to reduce its reliance on foreign markets, focusing instead on enhancing its domestic operations. Following Trump's deregulation efforts, Ford found itself in a complicated situation. While the relaxation of emission standards could have saved the company money in the short term, it was under increasing pressure from the global market and environmental groups to invest in cleaner, more sustainable technologies. Ford responded by continuing to develop electric vehicles, EVs, and hybrid models, knowing that innovation in clean energy would become a defining feature of the automotive industry in the future. Despite the challenges, Ford's ability to balance competing pressures showcased its pragmatic approach while responding to the immediate needs of the government and the U.S. market. Ford has faced numerous challenges in the automotive industry due to Tesla's success in producing electric vehicles, building charging stations, and developing autonomous driving features. The rising demand for SUVs and trucks has also put pressure on Ford to innovate quickly and invest heavily in the EV space. Traditional competitors like Chevrolet, GMC, and Ram have constantly improved their models, making it difficult for Ford to stay ahead of the curve. Ford's rivals in the truck market, such as the Chevrolet Silverado and Ram 1500, have started offering similar features and performance to the F-Series trucks, narrowing the gap in what consumers expect from a full-size pickup. Global automakers like Volkswagen, Toyota, and BMW have also stepped up their efforts to capture market share in the U.S. Global concerns over climate change have further emphasized the need for Ford to pivot quickly and adapt to the future of the automotive industry. The company must balance managing trade tariffs, global market pressures, and responding to governmental regulations while transitioning to greener technologies. The Trump administration's policies have also posed significant obstacles to Ford's ability to evolve. Under Trump's presidency in 2024, the introduction of tariffs on imports could significantly impact Ford's bottom line, especially as the company faces intense competition from Tesla and global manufacturers. Additionally, rising costs due to Trump's trade policies will be crucial in determining Ford's future. Ford's legacy has been built on resilience, but the road ahead requires adaptability, especially as global trade tensions and tariffs continue to evolve. Will Ford be able to navigate these turbulent times and hold on to its position as a leader in the automotive industry?